Hi, I'm Adam Pritchard, Assistant Curator of Paleontology at the Virginia Museum of Natural History, and I'm here with another tale of ancient life. This jawbone belongs to a carnivorous dinosaur called Megalosaurus, which lived in the Jurassic period of what is now England. Megalosaurus wasn't the largest carnivorous dinosaur, certainly isn't the oldest in the fossil record, but this jawbone is pretty darn important. Important enough for the Virginia Museum of Natural History to have this beautiful cast of the original specimen housed at the Oxford University Museum of Natural History in England. But why do we have this? Well, it's cool. I think it's cool. But part of the reason it's cool is because it has a big place in paleontology history. The jaw and many other bones of carnivorous dinosaurs were recovered from the Stonesfield Quarry in England, which preserves rocks of about 165 million years old. You have to think about this in terms of the history at that time. In the late 1700s, when these bones are being discovered, when this jaw is discovered, Charles Darwin hasn't been born yet. There's no concept of evolution. There's barely a concept of extinction. Like the idea that species go away is controversial, to say the very least. And certainly the museums around the world don't have dinosaur skeletons. There's no T-Rex, there's no Triceratops, Stegosaurus, Allosaurus, Brachiosaurus, there's none of that in any museum in the world. So the discovery of these giant bones and this jaw in this quarry in England caused quite a stir. It was important enough that Oxford University actually purchased this jaw and many of the bones in 1797 for their School of Anatomy. But it would be several decades before paleontologists took a real good, hard look at these specimens. And those paleontologists included William Buckland, a reverend and geology professor at Oxford University. Buckland has a huge place in English paleontology. He helped describe Ice Age hyenas from there, all kinds of dinosaur and reptile specimens, and he tried to interpret the geological history of England. The other paleontologist was Mary Moreland, who was primarily a scientific illustrator, who did incredible charcoal drawings of the Megalosaurus jawbone and many of the other bones from the Stonesfield Quarry site. And those drawings became the basis for the broader understanding of what these Megalosaurus bones looked like back in the 19th century. In 1824, Buckland interpreted the jaw of Megalosaurus and many of the other bones as belonging to some kind of gigantic four-legged carnivorous lizard. Which isn't quite right based on what we know now. But Buckland was recognizing that this was some kind of reptile that clearly did not exist in England anymore. It was extinct. And at the time, that was a big deal. With Buckland's description and Moreland's illustrations, Megalosaurus became something of a sensation, even garnering an appearance in a passage of Charles Dickens' novel Bleak House.
Implacable November weather, as much mud in the streets as if the waters had but newly retired from the face of the earth, and it would not be wonderful to meet a Megalosaurus, 40 feet long or so, waddling like an elephantine lizard up Holborn Hill.
I wish there were dinosaurs in A Christmas Carol. A statue of the original four-footed concept of Megalosaurus is still standing in the Crystal Palace Park, south of London. Now, in the coming decades, many more skeletons of carnivorous dinosaurs were discovered around the world, and they clearly showed that these animals were not four-legged plodding animals, but bipedal predators, walking on their hind legs with relatively shorter arms. And Megalosaurus was definitely one of these. The Oxford University jawbone and the original bones from the Stonesfield Quarry have been studied by scientists ever since their discovery in the late 18th century. Right now, they're believed primarily to come from one species of carnivorous dinosaur, Megalosaurus, which was about 165 million years old, about 20 or so feet in length, not a super giant, but still a pretty sizable animal. And it's one of the first in the fossil record to have a relatively short neck and a massive sort of boxy head. These kind of adaptations seem to occur at the same time as increasing body size of some herbivorous dinosaurs, like the first really big long-necked dinosaurs, and armoring up for early stegosaurs and ankylosaurs. And 223 years after its purchase by Oxford University, the Megalosaurus jaw is still being studied by scientists, being subjected now to all kinds of chemical analyses and CT scanning to reveal the internal structure of the bones and teeth. Now, it wouldn't be fair to say that the Megalosaurus jaw is the first dinosaur bone discovered. Native Americans and Asian peoples have been discovering dinosaur bones on their lands for hundreds, if not thousands of years before. However, the jawbone of Megalosaurus is still crucially important. It was really the first dinosaur given a scientific name using the same standards that we use today. And in 1842, Megalosaurus, along with two other dinosaurs, Iguanodon and Hylaeosaurus, were used by paleontologist and anatomist Richard Owen to coin the name of a new kind of ancient reptile that had previously never been recognized, the dinosaurs. So thank you, Megalosaurus, Reverend Buckland, Miss Moreland, for helping bring dinosaurs out of the ground and telling tales of ancient life.